Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to today's video, where today we are going to be doing something a little bit comfy and cozy and just kind of talking to each other. But I'm basically going to be telling you about my predicted 5-star reads. So I first saw bestie Jaime doing this, so shout out to you, girl. And I was like, I need to do that more often because sometimes I feel like I can sometimes predict 5 stars, but like a lot of the time, sometimes it doesn't always come as natural to me as like some other books. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. Basically, I have a lot of 5-star predictions, so I was kind of combing through them, and I kind of took the top 10 of the 5-star reads that I want to get to immediately, whether that's coming up in TBR videos or just videos in general, or even later on in the summertime as well too. Like a lot of these I want to read in the summertime, maybe a little bit closer to the fall time, because sometimes a couple of them may lean into that season a little bit more. But without further ado, before we get started, make sure you get comfy, grab yourself a little drink. I made myself a lovely oat milk chai. It is so good. Put me on in the background and grab your blanket as well too. I got a blanket on as well too because we're getting comfy and cozy because we're going to be talking a lot today. So let's get into the first book. Also, randomly looking at both of these stacks, I realized I have 5 paperbacks and 5 hardback books on here. I totally did not mean to do that. But the first book on this list that I think is going to be a 5-star from me is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans, mostly because of the fact that I have been gravitating a lot more towards literary fiction books. Some of these are very much on the literary fiction side of things because that is what I have been kind of gravitating to with like real world stuff. And it's one of my favorite genres that's been happening. And if you don't know what The Correspondent is about, I feel like everybody does, but we basically follow this older woman named Sybil, and she communicates via writing letters and emails. So we get to see like when she was first starting out doing that, and then we just kind of like go throughout her entire life. I have seen so many people crying over this book. I've seen so many people like underlining things and kind of like taking profound thoughts with them when they are done with this book. And honestly, even though right now I'm kind of in a little bit of a literary slump, these types of books always kind of remind me that like even though these characters are fictional, they can 100% be real people, and it kind of helps me bring back a little bit of like maybe humanity, but also just reminds me of how humanity can be also beautiful and genuine and loving, and just kind of helps me remind myself that I am human. So with The Correspondent, I 100% think that it is going to tug on my heartstrings. It is going to give me life lessons that I think I need at this time in my life, because from what I've heard, you can read this pretty much at any single time in like whatever age, and I kind of think of this almost kind of like The Wedding People as well. Like you can really read The Wedding People at like any time in your life because you'll get so many like life lessons and things out of that. And I feel the exact same way with The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. So this is the first book that I think is going to be a predicted 5-star from me, and hopefully I'm hoping that it will be. And then this next one is another book that I've been seeing so many people talk about online because it has been blowing up, but it is Into the Blue by Emma Brody. From what I have heard about this book specifically is it kind of takes a little bit of an aspect of like following these toxic characters. Specifically, we're following, what are their names? AJ and Noah. So it starts out like in the summer of 2000. AJ is kind of a teenager, kind of trying to work towards her goal of writing for SNL and getting into Hollywood in that way. And then Noah, he is actually the son of 2 very famous actors, I believe, and they met when they were teenagers, and then it just kind of follows from their love right there. I've also heard that it kind of has a similar take into how Atmosphere is told, where it's not the complete love story. It's kind of like a bonus added thing, but I am not too sure. I think I could really like this because I do like these types of books where we're not just only focusing on the romance. We have so many other aspects, and we have so many more different things going on that can kind of make us like pull on our heartstrings feelings with our characters even more. I wouldn't be too surprised if there was friendship love in this and not just the romantic love as well. But I don't know about the toxic part, but I'm slowly kind of starting to realize I kind of do like reading about toxic characters. I don't like watching toxic characters on my screen because I'm just like, no. But if it's in a book, then give it to me 100%. So I'm hoping I can get to this in June, because if you guys saw my June TBR video, I picked this for my June TBR, and I believe it's also going to be a book club book of mine, but I need to double check that and make sure. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Jaime's book club book in Fable for June, so you will 100% see me reading this in June. But that's the second book that we have. Then the third book is actually from a favorite author, and by mean favorite, I mean most recent favorite. I read him at the end of 2025 and then have been kind of reading his books a little bit more this year. But this is My Friends by Frederick Bachman. This is my book of the month copy, and Frederick Bachman has kind of become kind of like a staple for me in the literary fiction or the literary author space, because of the fact that like his writing is so profound and so like to the point that it can be very beautiful, very descriptive, but it just also just like buries itself deep into my soul and literally pulls out things that I didn't know were there and made me feel it. And this one's a little bit, I can't remember exactly too much of the plot, so I think I'm gonna read a little bit of it because I just don't think I can like do like a justice of like summarizing it. So I'm just gonna read what the blurb says. And it says, most people don't even notice them. Three tiny figures sitting at the end of a long pier in the corner of one of the most famous paintings in the world. Most people think it's just a depiction of a wide, expansive sea, but Louisa, soon to be 18 years old, and an aspiring artist herself, knows otherwise. She's determined to find out the story behind these three enigmant figures. More than 2 decades before, in a distant seaside town, a group of teenagers find refuge from their bruising home lives by spending long summer days on an abandoned pier, telling silly jokes, sharing secrets, and committing small acts of rebellion. These lost souls find in each other a reason to get up in the morning, a reason to dream, a reason to love. Out of that summer emerges a transcendental work of art, a painting that, after a chance encounter in an alleyway, will unexpectedly be placed in Louisa's care. She embarks on a surprise-filled cross-country journey to discover how the painting came to be and to decide what to do with it. The closer she gets to the painting's birthplace, the more anxious she becomes about what she'll find. Louisa's complicated life is proof that happy endings are sometimes possible, but they don't always take the form we expect them to. And the reason why I think this one will be a 5-star is not just because I have loved Frederick Bachman in the past and he's gotten mostly 5 stars out of me, but because of the aspect of friendship. I always love it when books kind of dive into friendship and kind of just like tell us a little bit more about like how different friendship works and how chosen family is so important to so many of us, because a lot of the times the families that we are born into are not the greatest people in the world. Like my immediate like family, like my mom is great, I love her so much, but like my extended family are not the greatest people in the entire world. I'm just kind of depending on like what side you talk about, you know. But it's always I'm fascinated to just kind of see exactly what topics he dives into when it comes to friendship and how exactly this can work, because I know that this came out in, was it 2025? I don't remember honestly when this book came out. Let me look at the copyright page and see what we've got here. Yeah, okay, it did come out in 2025. Because I remember, I think it was Sarah Caroli that started talking about My Friends, and then it blew up last year, obviously, because it was a new release. But this is one of those books where, kind of like in the same like realm as The Correspondent, I think I will take a lot of good life lessons from here. I will 100% take a lot of good life lessons from here and maybe apply them into my own life as well, too. And also find a new appreciation for my friends. Not that I don't have one, but I think it will just make me appreciate them even more and why I've chosen them to be like my chosen family. And then book number 4 that we have on here was also a debut novel last year and was last year's May Book of the Month pick, and that is The Names by Florence Knapp. I have seen this book everywhere, like legitimately everywhere. And from what I remember, it basically follows this woman. She had just given birth and she's going down to the registry to basically register her son's name. Her husband wants her to choose, I don't remember what name it was. I think it's Gordon. Yeah. Okay, so basically Cora's husband basically wants her to choose the name Gordon because that name is very much associated within his family. All of the firstborn sons are named Gordon pretty much, but Cora doesn't really want to because she is very hesitant about doing that because of a lot of things and like just like how much evil comes with her husband's family and within her husband itself. And then she has another name that she would like to name him, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. And then their 9-year-old daughter that they already have wants to name him, I believe, Bear, I think. But then when we go down to the registry, we basically follow 3 different names of who this boy could become and will become. And we basically follow through what his name is and how exactly those names affect him and affect his life. And it sounds really trippy. It sounds very fascinating. It sounds very heartbreaking. I know that there's a lot of triggers when it comes to domestic abuse and domestic violence a lot of the time. So I definitely have those triggers in mind, but I don't get triggered by that too easily. It's also a fairly thinnish book as well. But this one I think will make me kind of understand a little bit more about how significant a name is and how exactly like we are defined by our names, because we all have these types of like stereotypes when it comes to very common names. Like my name is very common. It's Samantha. I go by Sam a lot of the times because that is what I feel most comfortable with. But the minute you hear somebody's name, you immediately get this kind of like vibe a little bit before you even know about who they are. Like I'm betting like I've met people and they've probably met a lot of Samanthas in their lives, and either that name has a good association or a bad association. This is just kind of my thoughts and what I'm kind of feeling, but I have a feeling that with this one, we are definitely going to get the talk about how exactly choosing a name kind of defines who we are, because I know a lot of names that I have heard over the years, and they're just names where you sometimes get associated with like bad people. Like there's a lot of people from my high school class and like my class that I went to school with where I hear some of their names and I just with people in general, and I immediately think, I'm like, oh, are you gonna be like that person that I knew way back when? Because that's happened to me multiple times, and I'm curious. I'm really, really curious to see if that tackles it, but I'll let you know when I officially start reading it. And the last one that I have in this stack, which is number 5, is another book that was a debut that I had seen like blowing up last year, and that of course is The Bright Years by Sarah Damoff. I don't know how you pronounce her last name, but she's got another book coming out in May. I think it actually came out, I don't remember when it came out. I think it came out in May of this last year and such. But from what I remember with The Bright Years, I don't really know too much about this. So I'm going to do another thing with like my friends and kind of read what the description says. But it says, Ryan and Lillian Bright are deeply in love, recently married and now parents to a baby girl, Georgette. But Lillian has a son she hasn't told Ryan about. And Ryan has an alcohol addiction he hasn't told Lillian about. So Georgette comes of age watching their marriage rise and fall. When a shocking blow shatters their fragile trio, Georgette tries to distance herself from reminders of her parents. Years later, Lillian's son comes searching for his birth family. So Georgette must return to her roots, unearth her family's history, and decide whether she can open up to love for them or herself while there's still time. And I have heard so many people specifically saying how this did a really good job at tackling what it is to do with generational trauma and how exactly it feels to kind of like have generational trauma in a way, because a lot of the times we see a lot of generational trauma, but I don't think anybody has really like unpacked it like this from what I've heard, but I have no idea, honestly. But one of my main things that I'm really kind of excited to learn about with the Bright Years is with the fact of knowing that we're going to be following a family. We're going to be following generations and generations from what I've heard, at least. And also that this is a very, very tiny book, and also that it's a debut novel, because I've been seeing a lot of people loving debut novels as of recently because they're nothing like what the market has. And it's very interesting to kind of see where people take these literary concepts and how they decide to tackle these literary issues and how they decide to attack these real world problems. And with this one, I just feel like that it will probably tug on my heartstrings, because I probably don't have a family as messy as this, but I know everybody has their family drama, their family issues, their families, like whatever. Like sometimes secrets are kept, sometimes secrets are hidden for many generations, and just because a lot of people don't want their secrets to come up into the light. So I'm very excited for this one because I think I could really, really love it, and I would really, really enjoy it. So yeah, that is going to be book number 5 that I believe is going to be a 5-star for me. Moving on to the next stack, which is book number 6. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are not going to be surprised about this because it is on so many people's 5-star predictions, but that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. The movie recently came out in theaters. It was either around March or April time, I believe. I was originally going to read it during that time, but then I did not get to it because I feel like that this one needs its own dedicated like reading and watching vlog when it comes out onto like Amazon Prime and like being able to go onto streaming platforms, you know, which I don't know if it is on streaming platforms, but we shall see. But I feel like everybody knows what this is about, and I try my best to go into it blind, but from what I know is that there is this dude, I can't remember what his name is, but he wakes up in space one day, not remembering his name, not remembering like why exactly he's there. His whole crew is dead, and he has to pretty much figure out what exactly happened to his crew and what exactly is happening to himself and why he's in space in the first place. And I'm not a science fiction person. No, I really wouldn't say I'm not a science fiction person. I've never read a science fiction novel. I will say that. One that I do want to try before kind of diving into this is Recursion by Blake Crouch. But going into this one, I think I can like it because a lot of people say that the humor is very funny, that they find themselves like gravitating towards characters that they never thought that they would gravitate towards and things like that. And I think I could really like it. Plus also, even though I didn't go to school for like science stuff, I've heard that there's a lot of science talk, and I love learning about science. I love learning about that type of stuff, and I'd be just really kind of curious to just like see exactly what this book is about, because of the fact that there are so many people who love it and so many people who enjoy these like types of stories. So that is book number 6 on the list. This next one is a romance, and you guys know I don't really like predict romances for being 5 stars, but safe to say, as she is my favorite out of the trio in this little like interconnected standalone series, I think it's gonna be a 5-star, and that is Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This one basically follows Hendrik. She's the third of the friends in the Skyland trilogy, with the first one following Yasmin, second one followed Soledad, and then this third one obviously follows Hendrix. She is the kind of like childless aunt of the group. She doesn't want to have kids. She chooses not to have kids, and she's very much content with her life, but then she also is like, she's dealing with like caring for like her aging parent. I think it has something to do with like Alzheimer's or dementia, but Hendrix is going through that aspect as well. And then she meets a dude named Maverick, who is kind of like a forbidden type of like romance between the two of them, plus also plus size girl representation as well too. Magnifico. This just sounds gorgeous. And I really kind of like Kennedy Ryan because of the fact that it's not just her romances and like how she does the romances is what I really drawn to her. It's how she makes us understand who the character is individually and then helps us understand what exactly the character needs as a partner and who they need in a partner or as a partner, you know? And so far, Kennedy Ryan has not disappointed me. She's not disappointed me whatsoever. I love the way that she tells stories. I love the way that she is able to pull on my heartstrings and just able to just like tell me a story, if that makes any sense. And I think that this is going to be a 5-star because, like I said, Hendrix is my favorite of the girls. I love her attitude so much. I cannot wait to read her book because I'm just like, yes, queen, yes. So I'm really excited to also see her get her love story as well too. Plus also, we know a lot about Hendrix, but she's definitely the more quieted and more closed off of the group. And those are my favorite characters to kind of explore because most of the time I'm a like kind of closed off person, but if you get to know me and I actually tell you stuff about me, and I trust you to tell you like stuff about me, then like you know that you've hit the jackpot. So I'm very, very excited to get to know Hendrix a little bit more and just kind of knowing and understanding her story a little bit more as well. All right, and now we have book number 7. This one's a little bit of a short one and one that I just need to read because I think it will. It's very short. It is very just like easy to read pretty much, and that is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I've been needing to read this book for such a long time. It is a short book. Like, look at that, friends. That book is really, really short. Like, why have I not read this yet? But basically, this follows this woman named Eleanor. She basically struggles with a lot of social skills and kind of like taking in cues. And she pretty much has her life being kind of like fairly content. She doesn't really have too many friends, but then that changes when the IT guy in the department that she works in kind of starts befriending her. And she kind of realizes that like, maybe she's not that content with what she wants to do. And I think that this lesson could give me a reason, or not really a reason, but just like an understanding of like, sometimes it's not always best to kind of close yourself off and not really like dive too deep into friendships. No, that's not the word. That's not the words I'm trying to say, but like it kind of, it's probably going to attack the fact of like, maybe you shouldn't completely close yourself off from the world because you could be closing yourself off from having an amazing time and an amazing friendship or an amazing life as well, because I'm guessing this will honestly like dive into the fact that like Eleanor probably didn't have a good home life, but I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating at this point because I'm just like, I don't know. I genuinely like do not know where it's gonna go at this point. But yeah, the reason, like I said, those are my reasons that I think are going to be a 5-star for me. Plus also it's tiny. I can read this like maybe within like a week or so because, you know, it is so tiny and I just need to read it. I just need to, honestly. It's something that needs to be done, so it needs to be done. I just realized Eleanor Oliphant is number 8, not number 7. I don't know where my counting went wrong, but you know, it's somewhere on the screen, so you guys will know. But this is number 9, and this is actually a movie that I have seen a billion times, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I did not know that it was originally a book, and that is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. I love The Princess Bride movie so fucking much. It is one of my favorite movies. I was introduced to it at a very young age, and it's kind of one of my comfort movies. I love the setting. I love the way that it's told. And I'm not usually a fantasy type of person, but this is my kind of fantasy, you know? I have the little like special edition with the like sprayed edges of saying like as you wish or whatever, you know, if you can see that. And I want to read this for a reading and watching vlog, because even though I've watched the film a million times, I wonder if I will get the same feelings that I did when watching the movie compared to the book, because some things can be taken out, some things can be like taken out of context or whatever, and I'm just really, really curious to see what exactly this book is about. So I think it is going to be a 5-star because I love the movie. I love the way that the story is told, and if the story is told in a similar way that the movie is told as well too, then I know I will love this story and it will be a 5-star. And now on to the last book that I think will be a 5-star, because one, I bought 2 copies and had to return one, and that is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. You guys know this. I graduated with a BA in English and creative writing on the publishing track, and we had to do a lot of work with Shakespeare and kind of understanding that aspect, and this book is basically like Shakespeare pretty much. Let me read the back so that like I can like give you kind of like a better understanding of this. But enter the players. There were 7 of us then, 7 bright young things with a wide, precious futures ahead of us. Until that year, we saw no farther than the books in front of our faces. On the day Oliver Marks is released from jail, the man who put him there is waiting at the door. Detective Colburn wants to know the truth, and after 10 years, Oliver is finally ready to tell it. A decade ago, Oliver is one of the 7 young Shakespearean actors at Delshire Classical Conservatory, a place of keen ambition and furious competition. In this secluded world of firelight and leather-bound books, Oliver and his friends play the same roles on stage and off: hero, villain, tyrant, temptress, induce, and extra. But in their 4th and final year, good-natured rivalries turn ugly, and on opening night, real violence invades the students' world of make-believe. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their own tragedy and their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent. So it kind of follows from there. And it's just one of those things where I'm just like, oh, that sounds so good. Like, that sounds so good. That sounds so lovely. I'm so excited for this. And I just 100% think that, like, I'm going to truly love this story and truly, like, really like it. Because even though Shakespeare's not my favorite thing to read, I like watching plays of Shakespeare, because it's just like one of those things where it's like, it's meant to be kind of shown and not told through like words on paper, you know? And I just think that this one is 100% going to tug on my heartstrings, and it's also going to kind of make me appreciate a little bit more of Shakespeare and exactly how Shakespeare was written and how exactly we can kind of take from it and kind of understand where we're coming from with things. So yeah, I don't really have too much to say on it, but I know I'm gonna like it because things have been telling me to read this book. So hopefully I will be able to read this book soon, and hopefully it will not disappoint me. So those were all of the books that I think will be 5 stars. I don't know if they will be 5 stars. I'm hoping they will be 5 stars because, like I said at the beginning, I've never been able to predict a 5-star. I can kind of give myself a little bit of grace in being like, well, you know, this could be a 5-star, but also at the same time, it couldn't be. It just kind of depends, honestly. But that is going to be the end of the video. So thank you guys again so much for watching. If you did enjoy me, please make sure to like and comment down below. If you don't know what to comment down below, tell me about your latest 5-star read and what you think is going to be a 5-star when you pick it up. If you liked me, please make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. Every Mondays, I post reading, writing, or lifestyle vlogs every other Wednesdays, and kind of a little bit on the Wednesday vibes. I'm going to be posting bookish content like this, whether that's TBRs, tier rankings, going through list of books, and just things like that. And then on Fridays, obviously we have Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. We've been having so much fun over there, so go ahead and check it out. And again, thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to check out any of the books, they're going to be linked in the description down below. You can click on them and you can buy them from from a local bookstore of yours online or whatever through my bookshoplink.org in the background in the description. So yeah, thank you guys again for watching, and I truly, 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 truly hope that you guys have an amazing day, week, month, and year. See you later, friends.